Hey guys, so I thought I would do a little tiny video because someone wrote to me the other day and asked me for help with balance poses, and there's like so much I can say on this. So firstly, if you're struggling to balance, it might be that all of your weight is in your feet, and so as soon as you take 50% of your feet away, i.e. you come onto one foot or a part of a foot, or you're on a heel of one foot and the toes of the other, and all of your weight is there, that's not really going to be something you can maintain. So when we come to yoga, much like if you've ever done gymnastics or ballet or seen acrobats or martial artists, what we learn is to carry the weight here in the center. So the Yogic Core, I always explain as being, well, if you're seated, it's from the ground to the navel. So it's the region of the pelvic floor to basically the diaphragm. Okay, all of these muscles here, as we age or as we don't use them, or as we sit in chairs, which do the work of our core for us, i.e. keeping us upright, these muscles start to get soft and weak, and the belly starts to stick out, the back starts to slump. We even lose height as we age, and organs go downwards as we age. So learning to carry a weight here is crucial. Okay, so Udianobunda, every single exhale you use in your practice, you should feel this area pressing in, fanning the flame of the internal heat, the kundalini, whatever you want to think of it, whether material, physical, energetic, this has to be working. One thing about balance and the core is actually how long can any of us sit comfortably without fidgeting or moving or leaning to one side? I can't do it for very long. But you see these great yogis that have been doing yoga for decades, a lifetime, and they're so static and so comfortable in a seated position because their core muscles are so integrally strong, and the spine of course as well. So this is one thing I wanted to tell you about balancing. The other thing is actually, how often do you balance in daily life? So we've talked about balancing seated, actually, being seated. What about standing? I bet you any money, if you're in a queue and you're waiting for the bus, or you're in a checkout waiting to pay for your goods, you can't just stand straight. So we never really stand even in samasthiti in our daily lives. So if you do stand, as we do at the beginning of practice, it's hard to be like perfectly still and have the weight distributed evenly through the whole body. I've already said it should be held here, but of course the feet inevitably take the weight of our bones, for example. Right, so it's pretty hard. If you close the eyes in your samasthiti, you might feel like you're doing this, and that's your body's way and the structural small muscles that you have of correcting your balance and weight distribution the whole time, right? So treat samasthiti as a balance, treat standing still in any time and place as a balance, and also what you can do, guys, is when you walk around the house, when you walk around your day, you can walk slower. Yeah? I actually did a walking meditation like this the other day. Get to know your feet. The slower you walk, the more you have to balance. You're not simply pouring your weight from this foot to this foot to this foot to this foot, as most of us do all of our life. So we know when we take the weight off this foot that it's just going to go into this one because momentum says so and gravity says so. There's no skill. There's no skill here. It's just weight transfer. So you need skill. You need to know when and how much weight is coming off this foot, which part of the foot the weight is in, the heel, the ball, the arch, whatever. And so you need to, use the whole body to hold the weight as you walk. So this is something you can do. I used to do this with private students. They'll remember doing this. Walking slowly, walking fast, walking with eyes closed. What else do we used to do? I'm trying to remember. We used to walk on the heels. We used to walk on the toes. We used to walk on the out steps and the insteps. Okay? To try and find neutral and to feel how awful it is to walk in an uncomfortable foot or ankle position. So if you're trying to do something like that in a standing pose, if your foot has sunk in your tree pose here, your knee is also sunk in, your hip is sunk in, the whole side of the body is now kind of falling. So it's this chain reaction. Okay, next, the first balance that you may come to, or you think you come to in your practice, is a tree pose, right? You see people doing this, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to go and copy them, I'm going to pull my leg here, put my hands here. When in fact, the first step to coming into tree is transferring the weight to one foot. Yeah? Forget about bringing the hip into flexion or extension or doing a decorative, a shape with your arms. The first thing you have to learn to do is stand on one leg. So practice that. You can fingertip a wall if you want to, but practice standing on one leg for 5 breaths. You really, really will create strong muscles in your ankles, in your shins, in your calves that you don't necessarily use every single day in your daily life. So if you look closely at someone in a balance pose, let's see if I can adjust this, you'll see how much so the left side is my bad side forward, Utthastapalingustasana. So let me do the pose and see if you can see how much work is going on here. So already you can see I've spread my toes, lifted through the arch, the natural suspension in your foot, pressing down through the toe and the heel. And the ankle's very strong, as is the shin muscle, the tibialis and the gastrocnemius. The whole thing actually feels like it's made of metal. Okay, so as opposed to here, okay, now I have to kind of grip. And let's go ahead. So this is the first part of the pose. Leaning forward, putting more body weight into that ankle. You see how much it's working. Lifting up, changing the position of my leg here. And all the time, the ankle is readjusting, firing away, holding the position. Okay. So your ankles and your toes are your eyes in your balances, which is pretty cool. Also, if you practice Ashtanga, the stepping back, it isn't just a thing we do to get from left and right sides and to begin and end a pose. There's a reason for it. So if you're new to Ashtanga, you realise it's actually quite hard to put the weight in one foot, step back, open the back hip, i.e. bring the heel down, do it here. So taking the weight in one foot, stepping back, opening the back hip, by bringing the heel down to face the side, and then bringing the 2 hips to face forward. And again, when you do it to come back, you're opening your front hip, transferring the weight into the front leg, and off the back leg, slowly holding the weight in the core as you come back. It took me years to do this smoothly. So when we start, it's mostly this stuff. Yeah? Quickly getting the weight back into the feet. So do this slowly, and then you work your balance. Last thing, mind. The catch-22 is when you really want something, you try hard, or you get annoyed if you can't get it, you get frustrated. So balances do this to you. For some reason, we think they're impressive and we really want to be able to do them, and it might seem that everyone else in the room, if you're in a class, can do them. Some people naturally have an affinity to do balance as well. Some people are what I call earthy. They have a low center of gravity, or they might have, I don't know, large feet, strong legs already, or be heavier, in the lower body. Skaters, you often find like this. But whatever your disposition, know that the mind is going to affect your ability to balance and to enjoy a posture and to be okay with how the posture goes. So remember, yoga's here forever. It's not going anywhere. You can work your balance all day long if you want to. You don't need to be in a yoga class and just pay attention and enjoy all those subtleties and things you never thought about before. Enjoy your body and enjoy your practice. Okay, that's me and my tips for balancing. Namaste.